Well, can you believe it? We've only got one episode left of Yellowstone until the show potentially ends forever. It has been rumored that Taylor Sheridan is exploring options for a season 6, and this next episode is only being billed as a season finale, not a series finale. But as of now, Yellowstone is set to end on the 16th of December 2024. With episode 13 coming to a close and it looking like there was not only a silver lining for the Dutton family and their financial issues, but also a way in which the promise that was made 140 years ago by James Dutton to the Native Americans that gave him permission to settle on that land, it seems like it could be getting fulfilled. We could well be getting a fitting ending to the story that dates back to 1883. So with that, let's discuss some theories and predictions on how the show could end. So let's get into it. Here is Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14, the finale, Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The Dutton Ranch's End. In the finale, it seems like we're going to be witnessing the funeral of John Dutton finally taking place. The last episode in the show is a fitting position for that funeral to be, because John Dutton was once head of the family and is obviously no longer around. Yellowstone was always his story, and with him not being there, the last episode is the perfect place for everybody to say goodbye to the character. Based on what Beth said in the most recent episode, it seems like it's going to be a quiet affair where only close family will be in attendance. And I don't think Jamie's going to be one of them. On the site where the Duttons have all been buried, I imagine John will get his headstone placed there too, and he'll be in the soil that has kept the bodies of all of the Duttons that have come before him, which started with Elsa being buried there in 1883. John Dutton being buried and no longer being around does kind of mark the end to the show, and with Kayce having this plan on how to avoid needing to spend a ton of money in order to save the ranch, that also symbolizes the end too. When Kayce was speaking about the way tax is paid and it being paid on the final sale of a product rather than the market value of a product, it seems like Beth and Kayce are going to be selling the ranch for next to no money at all so they can get out of their financial issues. The ranch and the land will most likely be sold to Thomas Rainwater and Mo, something which will tie back to the promise that James Dutton made to the Native American man that gave him the land in the 1800s when he said that he'd give it him back if their people wanted it. So it would definitely provide closure and mark a full circle moment for the land and the relationship between the Duttons and the Native Americans if that does end up happening. This will mean that if the ranch does stay there, then they'll have the $30 million to reinvest back into it. However, with Kayce saying that he was done with being there, I don't think that's something that he'd want to do. Plus, Beth even said herself that that money was only enough to buy them a year on the ranch, and she was talking about a yearning to go traveling with Rip, so we could well see them leaving that land for good. But either way, the land will be back in the hands of the Native American people, and I wonder if that would most likely mean that Market Equity's plan on building the airport will get disrupted too. I feel like it might be, especially considering their close connection to Jamie and Sarah in driving that deal. Jamie's End. I don't think Jamie is going to get a happy ending in the show. We saw that he met with Christina in the penultimate episode, and she gave him a plan of denying any knowledge of what Sarah did to his father, and she also told him to deny any rumors that there was intimacy between himself and Sarah, something which she's going to go out on a press conference and state. I think this could potentially be damaging for Jamie for a couple of different reasons. The first is that Beth could well go on the offensive following seeing that Jamie is going public with the lies that he's going to be spewing. With the police potentially looking into Jamie, that could make her fearful over what he might say to the police, especially with him threatening her in the most recent episode and saying that he was going to tell all of the family secrets and bring them all down with him. Jamie could well be digging his own grave there because, for one, Beth and Kayce might well arrange for Jamie to be taken to the train station. We know Kayce has connections if he wants to get Jamie killed, and if he's threatening the life that they're all going to be moving on to following the ranch being sold, I feel they won't have a problem in doing that. At least Beth wouldn't anyway. Jamie is complicit in the crime because he's aware of the fact that Sarah had it organized and he's lying through his teeth to the siblings. So if there is some kind of evidence that connects him and Sarah to what happened, they might take actions into their own hands. I just can't see a world where Jamie gets any kind of happy ending or an ending where he doesn't end up behind bars or dead. He's lost Sarah, he's lost his family, and he's lost his career. It's almost as if they're getting ready for him to have a devastating ending. Is his life the next thing and the final thing that he could lose? I think it might be. When Jamie got out of the car at Christina's house, there was a train whistling in the background, and I feel that was almost symbolizing his death and providing a subtle moment of foreshadowing. If the Duttons are to get away with the crimes that they've committed over the years, then I feel he almost has to be killed by Beth. So I think that could well happen. It might be staged as if he's run away and is trying to avoid the heat of the police looking into him and Sarah. Either that, or he's gonna go to jail and the authorities won't take his claims of the Duttons' crimes that seriously, because he would have been found out to have been a cold hard liar in the past. Let's remember as well, there was footage of him being intimate with Sarah, and he doesn't know about that. So I feel that could well get leaked, which would go against what he's going to be saying in the press conference too, which could begin his unraveling. Beth and Rip's end. Rip has this desire to continue being a traditional cowboy, and he can't see himself doing anything else other than that. If Beth and Kayce sell the land and the ranch, then there wouldn't be any work for him to do there, unless they decided to go down the route of building it back up, something which could well be a possibility. However, I am now starting to wonder if Beth and Rip are gonna go off together and get out of Montana. Beth's whole life revolved around her father, and her father's whole life revolved around that ranch. And with those two pillars in which she built her life around being gone, I can't see her wanting to stay there, especially considering that the land will no longer be theirs, so there's not a financial tie. During this season, Beth mentioned a couple of times about wanting to go traveling and exploring the world with Rip, and we also saw that she was learning Italian too. So I feel like we could well see her leaving the ranch for good and getting out of the place which she once loved that has almost become a prison to her. She has a business mindset and she can't be contained, so I'm wondering how that's going to go. Honestly, I don't really know if that's something that Rip would want to do because he can't see himself doing anything else or being anywhere else. So that's the only thing that makes me think that she wouldn't do that. So it's either she leaves or she ends up trying to rebuild the ranch with Rip. Kayce's end. Kayce is the character that I think will probably get the ending that he deserves. He dealt with Grant in episode 12, and I don't think there are going to be any repercussions with that. Plus, he vocalized himself that he was done with being on that land on the ranch. I think Kayce is going to get the life that he wants to live and feels he deserves to live with Monica and Tate, especially after losing their child and him also losing his father. There was a time where it looked like that very family that gave him a sense of grounding could have been taken away from him, or he would have lost them. However, now, with Grant being warned and it seeming like he's not going to try and get revenge, he might just get that happy ending in the house that himself and Monica have spent time building and renovating. In terms of the main parts of the preview trailer that occurred at the end of episode 13, there was the clip that occurred with Mo and a band of people looking like they were going to be doing something during the night. I'm going to imagine that this is connected to the conversation that himself and Rainwater had about the pipe that was going to be going through the reservation. It was insinuated as if they were going to destroy it in the most recent episode, and I feel like this is what the group could be doing during the night so they don't get caught. There was also the clip of Rip and Lloyd disposing of something during the night on the edge of the hill, and also them lighting a car and driving away. Is this going to be one final killing taking place before the ranch gets sold, or could this be them doing something to frame Jamie? I feel like it could well be the latter one. The ending of Yellowstone is going to be something that will be bittersweet. It's a shame it's ending the way that it is, because there's no way Taylor Sheridan would have killed off John Dutton so soon unless he had to. But the curveball had to be caught, and Sheridan did exactly that. If I'm being honest, it is going to be a shame watching the show end, but I am ready for the next season of 1923, which will be airing in Feb next year. So, there you have it, Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 14, the finale, Theories Explained. If you want to see every episode of Season 5 of Yellowstone being broken down, then click on the card in the top corner, or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. How do you think the show will end? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.